year for stoner movies, and you actually are qualified to talk about movies since you were film school student, but this year we had the Harold and Kumar sequel, we had Pineapple Express, Cheech and Chong announced their reunion. It's been a big year for stoner entertainment.
Super Highway, Humboldt County, The Lackness,
Yep.
Weeds.
And we have so many members of the marijuana media on the panel here that we wanted to talk about movies just a little bit before we move on. You know, I did a big story for Entertainment Weekly where I worked about the genre of stoner movies, and I had a lot of resistance from the studios when I was trying to do interviews about calling it a stoner movie. And I don't know if that was because they thought the word stoner was derogatory or they didn't see it in the same category as like a horror movie. There's no doubt that this is a big business right now because stoner movies cost so little money to make, and they make so much money in video rentals and sales that, I mean, you know, this is a great proposition for the studios. So, what do you guys think? Is stoner a derogatory term? Rick? Let's start with you, Rick.
Well, I mean, I think studios want it both ways. What they want to do is make a stoner movie, but they don't want to attach the pejorative to what they're doing. They don't want to, take the hit in the mainstream media, but they want the stoners to go to their movie. The funny thing about Pineapple Express, we had the Sony Awards High Time last year in Hollywood, and the guy from Pineapple Express showed up, and we got him high. And he said, well, does this have any name? And I said, actually, it's Pineapple. And he went, oh, wow, I'm making a movie next month called Pineapple Express. And the first time I heard it. But the thing is, I think that he's had a lot to do with it. He's actually a big-time stoner. And
you're talking about Seth Rogen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, and he embodies that. I mean, we met the guy, a very, very casual guy. I mean, no entourage, walked in, went into the corner, and got high until he had to go on stage. So that's you're making stoner movies about stoner movies. He was on the Jon Stewart show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that? And he said, well, you wouldn't encourage kids to do pot. He goes, no, I say basically smoke pot, drop out of school, and then write a movie about smoking pot and dropping out of school. It worked for me. And so I think, but to answer the question, I think that what's really happening is a little bit of subterfuge. The studios want it both ways. They understand 25 million annual pot smokers in the United States makes up a market. And they go for that market, but on the other hand, they don't. A lot of those guys, they're contributing to the Partnership for Drug-Free America. So, to label a stoner product as a stoner product probably puts them at risk. And some of the people they're doing business with on the back end.
Right. Oh, yeah. And Ray, we were talking about Seth Rogen a little bit before, because, the evolution of stoner movies, you started Easy Rider, and then you've got the Cheech and Chong series, and then, going through to Dazed and Confused and Half Baked, and now we're in the 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, Pineapple Express. What do you think of Seth Rogen?
I'm sorry. I'm on the downside of life, and I see marijuana as much more intelligent, much more sacred, much more spiritual, much deeper than the movies that are going on. But I gotta say, I am shocked that they're actually able to bring those movies out, and those movies are making money. So, in a way, go ahead, dude, you do little Seth Rogen movies. God bless, because eventually it's going to get hip. Because it sure as hell ain't hip now. When I saw him at one of the movies, he's at a hockey game or something, and they're on peyote. I'm like, are you kidding me, man? Go out to the desert and take some peyote. Let me see some seriously spiritual stuff. But today's market is a very young market, and and kids go to the movies. Adults don't like movies.
We're being asked to leave, so Mikki's going to make a statement before we go.
Sorry, we were so delayed. We apologize.
Well, I like everybody else, I really enjoy seeing cannabis being consumed in movies and TV, but I do take offense when I do see how ridiculous and stupid and some of these situations that these people get into. And I do personally find the term stoner to be a derogatory term, because I, like Ray, also believe that cannabis consumers are intelligent and interesting and all that kind of thing. But I'd like to see a show of hands of how many people here actually relate to the term stoner or call themselves a stoner.
Or don't take offense to it, because I think
And
that's
the
how
question is, do you take it, do you call yourself a stoner positively, with a positive feeling? Do you feel it's a negative?
How many people think it's negative?
I'd say we're surviving about
That's
halfway.
kind of interesting.
Michael, would you like to just pitch in a little bit, have a word to the crowd?
I want to
Anything you'd like to speak of?
ask a couple of questions that are answered in your book,
Okay.
I believe. One, what stoner movie was Bridget Fonda's first film?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Anybody got it?
I mean, she was in Jackie Brown, but that wasn't her first film by any means.
Bridget Fonda's first film was Easy Rider. When she was a kid in the New Mexico commune they went to see, as was her brother Justin.
Huh.
Very
Get
interesting.
that into our next book.
Here's another one. I was going to make a presentation about the Marijuana Review, which was the first pot zine in 1968, first actual magazine devoted to marijuana. And the point I wanted to make about that isn't that these things are now worth $150 each issue on eBay, but that we took control of our own media. Instead of believing everything that the government and the schools and blah, blah, blah put out about marijuana, we decided to put out our own information about marijuana that we knew to be true. It's still going on today in this very room, and the reason it's going on is because I was going to talk about 3 marijuana musics that should not be forgotten in any discussion of marijuana music. One is Muggles, 1928, by Louis Armstrong and Earl Father Hines, which if you read any book of jazz criticism discussing the development of modern jazz, you discover the jazz critics have decided that Muggles in 1928 was the first jazz improvisational. The last 2 choruses, after laying down a very nice classic ragtime 12-bar blues by Earl Father Hines, and they go through several variations on the chorus, and then Louis Armstrong, who later admitted that they were all stoned out of their mind when they did it, and recorded it for OK Records, takes off on these 2 trumpet solos that just have nothing to do at all with the melody of that song, except tangentially, and he's going off way the hell out in outer space. Earl Father Hines brings it right back on the last chorus to the melody, and the song ends with your mouth open, because no one in 1928 had ever heard any trumpeter do that to any song, pop, jazz, whatever. It is the origin of jazz improvisational music in America. Is this song completely inspired by marijuana, Muggles, and completely written and played by people who are stoned, and written for people who understood it. The same thing is true, and I'll wrap up with this, with another song in the 1930s, which you give a different originator for, which is the Viper song. And you Google this thing on the Viper's Drag. My favorite version is by Cab Calloway. You chose another version. And according to Google, or whoever put in this thing in Wikipedia, I dreamed about a reefer 5 foot long, a mite immense but not too strong. You'll be high but not too long if you're a viper. Immediately I go, wrong, and I looked it up on page 191 of our new pop culture encyclopedia. Right? On page 191 they give the correct lyrics. Which is,
Thank God, by the way.
I dreamed about a reefer 5 foot long, the mighty Mez, but not too strong. The mighty Mez is a reference to Mesro's brilliant book about 1940s jazz culture called Really Blues. And Mez, it turns out, was the original source of Louis Armstrong's marijuana. He was a white marijuana dealer in Harlem and got all the breaks. So I recommend reading this book if you want correct information about our culture.
Thank you so much.